Welcome fellow wargamers, and today I actually have a battle report for you. It's been a little tough in this area to get battles in games of fantasy in anyway. I'm actually thinking about switching to 40k, but anyway, here we go. And with this list, this is actually, I got somebody to play on the other side, pretty much kind of begged, and they're trying out my orc army. And then on my side, I will be playing Skaven, Skaven Gunline actually. So going right to setup, you see this is a dawn attack scenario, which kind of really messes with the Skaven. But you'll see here I've got 6 sensor bearers, and then 30 clan rats with a shield, a warp fire thrower, a rat dart in front, another rat dart behind that, 30 more clan rats with a rattling gun to the side. Then next to that, 30 more clan rats with spears and another rattling gun. And going over, you'll see we've got another rat dart, doom wheel, big unit of storm vermin where the VSB and the Gracier are hanging out. Then there's a warlock engineer with a doom rocket. There's another rat dart. There's a total of 6 rat darts in this list. Warp lightning cannon in the back, and then you see warp fire thrower and another warp fire thrower. And next to that, we have a unit of 30 clan rats with spears. Another rat dart, 30 clan rats with spears. Some plague sensor bears. That force, by the way, turns out that it is the fungus force, so you suffer from stupidity if you move in there. So, which is a bit of a problem for that one unit of giant rats there, because they're touching the force and they end up being stupid, but it didn't prove to be too much of a problem. And then you have the hell pit, and behind that are some poison wind globadiers with a mortar, or poison wind launcher, I think. Other side, we ended up with the Orcs and Goblins, ended up with both units of 5 wolf riders here. The one has spears and the other has bows. And then there's a savage boar boy horde right there with a level 4 in there and VSB. About 60 night goblins, maybe a little bit more, 70 total. Anyway, there's some characters in there as well. Boar chariot, the Ragnarok spider, 40 black orcs. And then actually in that house is a unit of biggins, and then another chariot here on the flank. So going, you see the vanguard movement, and this is orc turn 1. The Skaven actually had the choice, and being as it's pretty much a Skaven gunline, just go ahead and surrender that to the orc army. So you see they're pretty much typical orc fashion. They move up. There's a bit of a problem that river is the necrotic ooze, so lots of models dying from dangerous terrain. And see, they've moved up like that. And this actually ended up being, I don't know if they understood how good this was, but this ended up pretty much baiting these poor sensor bearers, and it actually turned out quite well. Over here, the chariot moves out. The biggins that were in the building ended up failing animosity and just had to sit there in the building since they can't charge out of the building. So here, Skaven turn 1. The sensor bearers then failed their leadership test and had to charge the wolf riders. So, well, first they charged the one unit of wolf riders, which is fled, and then the next unit they ended up redirecting into the next unit over. And the other unit of clan rats, the rat darts, went up there, and you see the warp fire thrower just positioning to take advantage of when those rats are slaughtered. And over here, the doom wheel moves up as usual, and the rat darts all jet out. The rest of the army just kind of mills about and repositions. And over here, the hell pit moves out on an angle, and the globadiers move, and the sensor bearers don't care about stupidity, sense of frenzy, so they just move right in at that force, which is nice because now they're stubborn, being skirmishers. And you can see that the rats have kind of moved in. Everything's trying to get into that leadership bubble. And here, not to be to nobody's surprise really, the sensor bearers win, and they go to run it down. And what happened here is that the unit actually fled, and then on the orc turn it rallied. That one single wolf rider decided to turn around and rally. I'm not sure what he's thinking. Anyway, right here, they being frenzied, I think he might have actually failed his test, or maybe he just decided to. But anyway, the Savage War Boys go in to kill the rat dart, and this I thought was working out exactly according to plan, except for it didn't turn out that way. And you'll see why, because you see the big spider on there. And the thing is about the Arachnarok that I think it's always a good thing to remember is the Arachnarok can shoot. And this chariot made a charge into the doom wheel. It wasn't too terribly long, but I think maybe needed a 9 or a 10, but either way I got it. And then right here, that fanatic, the night goblins moved out, fanatic popped out, and it only killed one rat. Anyway, this was the result of the dreaded 13th casting, and you see that unit is down. Well, it's a little bit more than half. It's still there, but I think 15 or so Black Orcs got killed by the dreaded 13th. And then this was priceless. I had to take a picture here because that chariot came in to charge and take care of the sensor bearers, and it failed the dangerous terrain test when it touched the forest, and as you see, it died. So a little bit of luck there. And right here, some shooting from the spider scared off and caused the giant rats to turn around and run away. And over here, some more shooting from the night goblins, and that is the leadership role of that single giant rat. It's leadership 3, and it's stuck. So there's one little rat to hold everything up. And over here, that, as you can see, that kind of messed things up a little bit because since that one unit fled after they destroyed the one rat dart, there was nothing for them to overrun into except for the Twart Fire Thrower. But anyway, so, but that's okay. It still stopped them from getting to the unit. And right here, the doom wheel took a wound. It didn't run away, and the chariot is fine too, and they're just going to stay there for quite a while. Right here, the so going on, the plague sensor bears charge to take care of this guy on. So I guess this is Skaven turn 2. They charge, take care of the single wolf rider, and then over here charge in this big block of rats, and you'll see that that rat dart actually rallied, and then everything else just kind of positions to do I'm not really sure what. And then over here you see the rat dart just kind of hangs out, and everything just kind of maneuvers to take advantage of those night goblins the best possible. And going on further, the rat darts go to redirect and just block up that unit of biggins. You see the sensor bearers have moved around to the flank to pretty much, so once that unit charges in, then they're just going to get hit in the flank by the sensor bearers, and that might be enough to get rid of them. Plus the War Fire Thrower is now in position, so anyway, right here, and as you see, also the Hell Pit is also in position to flank charge that big unit of biggins. And this is again the second casting of the dreaded 13th, which does that to the unit. And there was a miscast on the first one, which was the best one possible. It was like a strength 6 hit on my 2 wizards. And then this one though was the bad one. And you see there's the what I think was about half of the unit of Stormwoman, and getting blown up. And that was not. This is just because I haven't played a game in a long time. And generally the way I run my Gracier, the best thing to do would have actually been to have him just kind of stand out to the side of the unit, which I could have done, and then cast, and then I would not have blown up, or maybe, you know, at least on the side of the unit. But anyway, he was in the center of that for leadership reasons, but yeah, that I really need to. But he didn't get sucked into the warp, thank goodness. And this right here, oh, that's a warp fire thrower that decided to explode. So yeah, I decided that I would try and use it to take out, you know, those final 3 Black Orcs, and instead he decided to run over here and blow up and destroy even more storm vermin. This is the Doom Rocket fires, and so many dead night goblins. There you go. There's about half the unit. Maybe not half the unit, but it was a lot. 25 died, somewhere in there. It's just absolutely devastating when you land that big strength 5 template on something like this that has no armor, pretty much no save. And right here, the Doom Wheel actually does some wounds to the chariot, but it sticks around. And we end up kind of in a pillow fight here. I mean, some clan rats are dying, but not enough to cause them to break, and so they just hold. And over here, this unit, so Orc turn 3, this unit reforms to try and make sure that it doesn't get horribly flanked, which I thought was smart, and just barely had enough room with that house. I thought I had them completely blocked in so that they couldn't reform, but because there were 2 dead models, and I don't remember what killed them, maybe it was some kind of shooting, killed like 2 models in that unit, and that allowed them to have enough leeway to turn, as you see. Over here, you see a rat dart charges in. No, sorry, his black orcs decided to charge that rat dart, which I thought was kind of sporting. And fighting just continues. Things position. I believe if you don't see any rat darts, that's because the night goblins charged and scared them off, and they just fled and left the night goblins stranded out of combat. And over here, these the wolf riders have actually positioned. Those sensor bearers are actually off the table. That's where they're going to be coming back on the next turn. And this right here is Hand of Gork. I got 6 dice through and moved this unit. It was a big version, and moved this unit pretty much behind the Skaven lines. That is a game-winning spell. In case you're wondering, I think really, if you're playing orcs, that's the spell you want. Some people are a big fan of Foot of Gork, or Here We Go, or the number 6 Night Goblin spell. But really, this is the spell that wins games. Is Hand of Gork. Right here, just more of the fighting go on. The board boys have reformed to try and force through those clan rats. You see, they finally killed the warp fire thrower. And right here, the black orcs actually won against that rat dart, but failed to run them down. And as you see, the Doom Wheel actually took care of the chariot, but surprisingly not with lightning. It actually had to grind it down and kill it with its attacks, which was so. Going on Skaven turn, I charged 2 units of rats in here because I figure those night goblins are worn down enough that I can eventually win that combat. And then, well, to really make matters solid, the Doom Wheel charges in on the side. And the Plague Sensor Bears come back. The Hell Pit turns right around and barges through that forest. The Wilbadiers turn around. Everything turns around to react to this new orc threat that somehow magically appeared in my flank. And there are the black orcs still there. I tried to shoot them, and it didn't go so well. And that's a misfire. The Doom Wheel decided that it would misfire with its lightning. I should have just restrained. Come to think of it, I mean, I was going to electrocute 3 night goblins, and it was not worth this. So it instead blew itself up. Well, it did D6 strength 6 hits, but it was enough to, anyway, I rolled the 6. So it suffered 6 strength 6 hits and died. And then right here, more fighting. Just they're slowly grinding that unit. As you can see, there's fewer and fewer clan rats each round. And over here, going on to Orc turn 4, I think. The big ends charge that big unit of spearmen, and then they managed to clip and hit in the process of charging. They have to close the door, and so they ended up hitting that the cannon, and so they're going to take care of that. And then the black orcs have charged into the rear of the clan rats, which is something I didn't quite see, but this actually ended up being a pretty good move because I don't think he would have caused the casualties otherwise that he needed to. And then the spider moves this direction to try and take care of some of the things over here. Seeing as it's there's nothing I can do on the other side of the board, and that's just a big pile of dead guys. Just wondering. And here you see they're still fighting it out. And the Wolf Riders charge the Plague Sensor Bears, which actually, given the poor initiative of Goblins, this actually turned out to be a really bad idea for the other player. Because as you see here, those three, the Wolves, which are the same initiative as the Plague Sensor Bears, managed to kill one Sensor Bear, but they completely wiped out the 5 Wolf Riders. And see, fighting the Night Goblins are reduced to, they held this round. In the future they're no because they actually, I think they won this combat, but you can see there's very few of them left. And here they broke those clan rats, and the Black Orcs tried to pursue. The other Orcs reformed to face the Hell Pit because they didn't want to get flank charged by the Hell Pit, and they failed to run them down. And so Skaven turn 4, the clan rats rally, and then I reformed the Storm Vermin to try and maybe actually do some good. And then the Hell Pit goes in, and the Spider, I just try and make sure the Spider can't do anything. I've moved 2 Rat Darts right in front of it, and the Sensor Bears are just out there to the side. To if it charges in, then it's going to get flanked, and they can probably actually take it. This is another misfire from the Warp Fire Thrower, which this really, I think my luck really, I had pretty good luck at the start of the game, and then near the end of the game, it is just always terrible. Everything was blowing up. And so here's the Hell Pit. It won combat. They were steadfast 8, I believe, and they failed. So the Hell Pit ran them down. And finally, well, the clan rats lasted quite a long time against much longer than I thought they ever would against those war boys. They finally defeated them, and then you can see the Night Goblins finally lost combat and were run down. And going on to, this is Orc turn 5. They charge, and they charged my bunker, and I fled. The Storm Vermin fled because they just didn't stand a chance. They got away, and then they redirected into this single weapon team. There's my fleeing bunker. Or what's left of the Storm Vermin. And this is really where that miscast and not moving my caster out before casting that big 6 dice spell really came back to hurt me, because I really would have liked a unit of, there were like 40 or 50 of them to start with. I really would have liked a much bigger unit of Storm Vermin. I think they also got stomped at one point. No, they didn't. I take that back. Something hit them. Maybe they got shot a little bit. There were various explosions that also whittled them down. I think it actually might have been my own explosions. But here, so this unit that rallied charged back into the... No, this is his turn now. Yeah, so finally, turn 6, he charges in here. The Arachnarok does a side shuffle to get like that, so that it can get around and not have to fight those giant rats. And during his magic phase, he decides to cast Hand of Gork again, and now the giant spider's right there. So there's his unit of boar boys, and they've got to make a massive charge to accomplish their task here. As you see, my bunker has rallied, so this is the bottom of 5. I take it back. I think I must have charged those Black Orcs. Anyway, they lost and got ran down, or they ran and again. Anyway, but yeah. So here's his turn, and you see that this is just this is my turn. This is Skaven turn 5, I think, and everything is just reacting to that spider, and reacting to try and finally finish off these Black Orcs that have survived with 3 models for so long. And then this is the epic charge roll on Orc turn 6, and he needed that's what he needed to get to my storm vermin. Got it, and that's not gonna go well. There goes this. I kind of thought going in this is the final turn. It's turn 6. I thought I had this game because really it came down to this charge right here, and he made it. And then they go in, and then this happens. Turns out I had to move the hell pit because I had that bunker that was fleeing, and the hell pit had to get around them. And so it ended up going this direction, but it was at such an angle that when that spider was placed, it was allowed to move into the flank of the hell pit, which doesn't, I mean, it's stubborn, so it doesn't care too much, but that means that nothing else can really help out against that in that combat. And he actually headbutts my Gracier and kills him that way with the headbutt spell, which that was kind of funny. And right here, the Black Orcs win combat again, and have now run down that unit of clan rats. So they beat him, I think. I don't know, they tried to run him down 3 times and finally caught him. And right here, as you can imagine, they killed all the storm vermin, and they just fled off the table. What was left, there was like not very much. There was a BSB and like 2 storm vermin. Anyway, and right here, so they've just reformed to kind of watch. And there's that fight. As you can see, the Arachnarch has done a bunch of wounds to the Hell Pit. The Hell Pit has managed to do about 3 wounds to the Spider. So, maybe if they were both on full. And right here, so Skaven final turn. These lone 2 Censer Bearers actually had no choice but to try and make this charge. So they make this long charge to finish off the Black Orcs. And right here, this the Globaders just turn around to try and help out, and I think they actually did manage to wound the spider with their globes to get 1 more wound. As you can see there, that is the dead hell pit. The spider killed it. I think it ended up on the spider had about 3 wounds left out of its 8. So I mean, the hell pit did a pretty good job against it. But I think the problem was, yeah, this I think actually what killed it. I think he actually got a poison attack to kill the hell pit. Anyway, and the roll, as you see, is a 4, so it did not get back up. So, and that was the end of the game. Tallied it all out. As you can see, there's the lone Censer Bears. They killed everything. And final tally, the Skaven ended up, the Orcs won this, and by a handy margin, about 600 some odd points or so. And it really comes down to that, making that long charge to get the storm vermin and the Gracier. If pretty much if he had rolled, less, rolling. I mean, so it was a 6, a 5, and a 1. When you need an 18 with even with Swift Stride, I mean, usually your average is about an 8.5, a 9. And then that was 2 higher than average, so it really was about the highest speed. I mean, the only thing worse would have been is you need 19 inches, but you need 18, and you got it. And swept them off the table. But yeah, in the Gracier plus that unit of Storm Vermin, plus there was another character and the BSB, I mean, it was 700 points easy. So that 700 point swing pretty much lost the game in the game. But other than that, really good game. As you can imagine, both sides it was terribly destructive. Thoughts? I'm not sure how long I'm going to stick with this type of a list. I don't know. I really like I actually like the close combat, destructive elements of the Skaven, and so I think in the future I'm just going to stick and go back to my more combat oriented. Maybe keep a couple of war machines, but as you saw, the real problem is when you're taking all those weapon teams is that they're really unreliable. They'll do a wonder, kill a couple of things, but I don't know. I mean, really, I think I'm not sure if rat darts are the way to go if you're going to go gunline. It might really be the best thing to do is to, rather than those rat darts, I might actually just want to buy, 40 to 60 more clan rat, 40 to 60 more little island of blood rats, and so I can field 3 units of 3 large blocks of slaves, or maybe take units of 20 slaves. I haven't tried that out. when I was originally writing this list, that's actually how I wrote it. I wrote it out with about 4 units of 20 slaves, just to be obnoxious that way. But anyway, this list was also, I thought, kind of obnoxious, and I don't know. I don't really think gun mines are that fun to play against, so I try to avoid them. Really, it's better to get in there and mix it up and fight close combat. Anyway, that's been the battle, and I hope you enjoyed it.